Right now, social media is exploding with new speculation. Fresh rumors are circulating about Jeffrey Epstein and the secret parties repeatedly mentioned in his emails, while questions about Ellen's possible connection and her recent effort to stay out of the spotlight are starting to draw attention.
Don't want you guys coming to my house. I will tell you over the phone the truth so you guys to save the trip, and I will tell you the truth.
People online are saying the lockers present at these locations held disturbing materials and private records. Authorities have never publicly confirmed many of these claims, but the mystery alone has fueled wild speculation. Considering the recent allegations about cannibalism, it's no surprise that Ellen DeGeneres is being dragged right into the middle of this too. This time, though, reports claim that Ellen may be trying to avoid a possible arrest, even though she is already abroad. When Donald Trump came into power and threatened to release the Epstein files, Ellen reportedly left the United States and spent over a year living quietly in the English countryside. Later, she and her wife, Portia de Rossi, reportedly bought a massive mansion overseas before eventually returning to America. Now, celebrities move all the time, that part isn't unusual, but the timing raised eyebrows. Why would someone suddenly leave just as some of the biggest criminals in America were rumored to be exposed?
So, Mr. President, we are looking at an image of a portrait that looks to be you, Mr. President, in this blue dress. Can you describe this painting? And
he doesn't need to describe the painting. You just gave him a picture. What's your question?
My question is, are you familiar with this painting? Have you ever seen it in person?
I've never seen it in person.
In past public statements, as in 2017 speeches and interviews, you described Pizzagate as a baseless conspiracy theory, alleging you and others ran a child trafficking ring.
It appears to be you, Mr. President, wearing a blue dress in this painting. Could you describe what we're looking at? He doesn't need to describe it. You've already shown him the picture. What exactly is your question? My question is simple. Are you familiar with this painting? Have you ever seen it in person? I've never seen it in person. In past public statements, including speeches and interviews in 2017, he also addressed the so-called Pizzagate claims, calling them a baseless conspiracy theory that accused him and others of running a child trafficking ring. But that didn't stop speculation online. That's when people began trying to connect different pieces together, whether those pieces actually belonged together or not. The situation became even louder when attention shifted to the UK. Jeffrey Epstein had documented ties to Prince Andrew, a scandal that rattled the British royal family for years. So when Ellen DeGeneres later relocated to England, conspiracy-focused corners of the internet immediately started whispering again. And then, older clips resurfaced, this time showing Justin Bieber during his teenage years.
What age would you want to get married, and how many kids would you want to have?
Like 17, so...
Would you rather have to be naked on stage? Answer Justin Bieber.
I have like little girl fans. I can't...
Imagine it was no laws. Imagine it wasn't like weird like that. Justin Bieber! I'm gonna squeeze your face.
No, I will. No.
I mean,
If you had to date one of us, five.
who it is?
People began revisiting old interviews where a 5-year-old, Justin Bieber, openly said on camera that certain questions from adults made him uncomfortable. At the time, many people dismissed it as nothing more than awkward celebrity banter. But looking back now, those moments feel very different to a lot of viewers. In hindsight, it seemed like even Justin realized he was being put in situations that didn't feel right.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
Ellen's show was one of the most influential platforms Justin Bieber appeared on during the early stage of his career. She openly supported him and helped bring even more attention to his rising fame. However, some of their on-air moments later made viewers feel that Bieber looked noticeably uncomfortable. Adding to the speculation, Ellen was also known to have connections with Diddy, a figure who has been surrounded by various controversies and allegations related to Justin Bieber during his early years in the music industry.
Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really, that early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
No, it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them.
Ellen also spent years living in Montecito, California, one of the wealthiest and most exclusive neighborhoods in the world. The area is famous for its powerful and high-profile residents, including Oprah Winfrey and Prince Harry. In places like this, elite figures often socialize together, attend the same events, and move within the same financial and social circle. On its own, that doesn't prove anything. But much of Jeffrey Epstein's influence was built around access, who had connections to whom, and who was moving within those same powerful networks. So when people noticed the same well-known names appearing across Hollywood, London, and even royal circles, curiosity naturally starts turning into suspicion. To be clear, Ellen has never been charged with any crimes connected to Epstein, and there is no court ruling linking her to his case. Most of the claims circulating online remain speculation. Still, Ellen's public image hasn't always been free from controversy. Over the years, several moments have sparked debate and raised eyebrows among viewers. One of the biggest moments that shocked fans happened in 2019. Cameras caught Ellen DeGeneres and her wife, Portia de Rossi, sitting right next to former U.S. President George W. Bush and his wife, Laura Bush, during a Dallas Cowboys versus Green Bay Packers game, a sight that quickly went viral and left many people asking questions.
It took a greeting on the gridiron between former President George W. Bush and Ellen DeGeneres to bring it into sharp focus.
It may not seem like a big deal for a celebrity to attend a football game, but I never leave my house, so it is a big deal.
Ellen and her wife, Portia de Rossi, were invited to sit in the private box of Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Former President George W. Bush and his wife, Laura, were also there.
The internet went wild. For years, Ellen had been celebrated as a leading voice for LGBTQ+ rights and one of Hollywood's most prominent liberal figures. In contrast, former President Bush's record included opposition to same-sex marriage and support for the military's "don't ask, don't tell" policy. So when images emerged of them laughing together at a football game, it left many people surprised and even sparked some anger. Ellen later addressed the moment on her show, saying that she maintains friendships with people who don't always share her views.
So I want to talk about something that happened this weekend. I know it's Tuesday. Sometimes I like to ruminate on things all day Monday so that on Tuesday you hear about it. This weekend I went to Dallas for the Cowboys game. And thanks. But during the game, they showed a shot of George and me laughing together. And so people were upset. They thought, why is a gay Hollywood liberal sitting next to a conservative Republican president? Didn't even notice I'm holding the brand new iPhone 11. But a lot of people were mad, and they did what people do when they're mad. They tweet, but here's one tweet that I loved. This person says, Ellen and George Bush together makes me have faith in America again. Exactly. Here's the thing. I'm friends with George Bush. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of people who don't share the same beliefs that I have. We're all different, and I think that we've forgotten that that's okay that we're all different. For instance, I wish people wouldn't wear fur. I don't like it, but I'm friends with people who wear fur. And I'm friends with people who are furry, as a matter of fact. I have friends who should tweeze more. And but just because I don't agree with someone on everything doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with them. When I say be kind to one another, I don't mean only the people that think the same way that you do. I mean be kind to everyone. Doesn't matter.
That statement caught a lot of attention, especially given that some of her friends later faced criminal convictions. While some viewers praised her honesty, others were left disappointed. Over time, this moment became part of a larger pattern of scrutiny. People started taking note of how Ellen moved seamlessly within powerful circles across different political lines. Then, in November 2024, Ellen and Portia de Rossi relocated from the United States to the United Kingdom. By that point, she had already stepped away from daytime television after the Ellen DeGeneres show ended, maintaining a much lower public profile. However, by August 2025, fresh allegations about her behind-the-scenes behavior began making waves. Greg Fitzsimmons, a former writer for her show, spoke on a podcast, calling her rough and difficult to work with.
You know, it was psychological. It was like this thing where, you know, we go into the writer's room, we get to work at whatever, 9 a.m., and then we go right into her office. She had this big office, right. And we'd sit around, you know, there was like overstuffed chairs and like leather couches. Very cool. We sit there and drink cappuccino, and it was like a loving environment. Until, like, I remember one time I made a joke about Justin Bieber, and she goes, "You know I love Justin Bieber," and it was like, "Oh, so nobody else can have a different feeling about Justin Bieber because you like him. And then she iced me. And then every joke I would tell for 10 days, she would literally not react and look away and say, all right, who's got something else?
Wow.
And so it was this thing where she would push you out of the circle and then pull you back into and when she pulled you back into the circle, oh my God, hand on the leg, laughing at what you were saying. And so for me, it wasn't that big a deal.
Right.
But for other people that, had mommy and daddy issues, and she, when you're working 14-hour days and she's the boss, it becomes a very powerful dynamic. That person's approval starts to meet, especially when people are getting fired constantly.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just being ostracized from the circle. It was genuine fear for your job. And so everybody felt that fear.
To be clear, being friends with a former president isn't a crime. Moving overseas isn't a crime either. Workplace complaints are not the same as criminal charges, and Ellen has not been charged with any crimes connected to Epstein. But in today's world, perception often matters as much as proof. People are re-examining everything, old friendships, past footage, emails, and interviews. The bigger picture is that powerful people often move in the same overlapping circles. Right now, Ellen isn't hosting a daily show or sitting across from A-list celebrities every afternoon. She's largely out of the spotlight, shielded from the current firestorm in America. Yet, some of her preferred political figures continue to make headlines, with Bill Clinton being the latest name shaking Washington.
I just finished testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee. I did it for two reasons. First, I love my country, including our Constitution. And America was built on the idea that no person is above the law, even presidents, especially presidents, and that we should all live under the same set of rules. This kind of democracy requires every person to play their part. And I hope that by being here today, we can bring ourselves just a little further away from the brink and back to being a country where we can disagree civilly and we can search for truth and justice, and that it outweighs the partisan urge to score points and create spectacle.
Newly released Epstein files included photos showing Bill Clinton sitting in a hot tub in a swimming pool alongside women whose faces were blacked out. The images quickly spread across the internet and went viral. As usual, social media reacted instantly. People zoomed in, slowed the footage down, and began asking questions. Clinton later testified before a congressional panel investigating the Epstein case. During his testimony, he stated clearly that he had no knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's crime. He also denied engaging in any inappropriate behavior with the unidentified women shown in the photos. However, some insiders and survivors have offered different accounts, adding more uncertainty and debate to an already controversial story.
In particular, very, very close to Jeffrey Epstein. She actually wrote a letter to Bill Clinton in 1995 that he should meet Jeffrey Epstein and talk to him about currency stabilization. So this is something that's been going on for a long time, and he's been very involved with this particular family, which it goes without saying has extremely deep ties to the state of Israel for an extremely long period of his career.
She approached me and she said that her friend was here. He was the king of America, and he was here with his friend Bill Clinton, and he owned his own island in the Caribbean, and his friend owned Victoria's Secret, and would I like to meet him, because it would be good, obviously, for my modeling career. So I went to the restaurant where they were, and it was Epstein, Clinton, Kevin Spacey, and about 3 or 4 other people. It was a small group. And they all stood up while they were having dinner and shook my hand. And it was, and Bill Clinton actually held onto my hand for a very long time. It was very weird. And then they also invited me to actually go watch Clinton's speech. I was like, I obviously wanted to go watch the speech, and I did. And what I did notice was Kevin Spacey was filming all the students in the hall. And then after the speech, we went back to the hotel, and then they looked at my modeling portfolio. And the girls were sitting there, and Bill Clinton walked past and witnessed the whole modeling casting. And then Epstein looked at my modeling portfolio and said he thought I'd be perfect for Victoria's Secret, and he wanted to bring me over. And then, after that, his office started phoning, and Leslie Groff arranged to get me a visa and to get me to New York, and I was there within 3 weeks. But what I've started to realize is it was more like a syndicate, a club, because the properties, they were all very different in style. It was almost like they didn't all belong to one person. There's a lot more going on there.
According to his testimony, the photos were taken during a visit to Brunei. He explained that he had been invited by the country's sultan to stay at a hotel while taking part in humanitarian work related to the Clinton Foundation's AIDS initiative.
So do you recall the details of this photo or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this taken, I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on the trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, who is that including?
Well, my whole team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei.
When questioned about the photo, Bill Clinton offered a response that many people found intriguing.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
You should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this,
Yes, it's noted.
It'll give you a different feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do.
thanks. I just wanted to make sure he knew the
And so were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well,
He's asking in the pool area.
There's this photo, there's a girl over here. Is there someone?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area whether other
Yes,
individuals.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know?
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Yeah, so do you remember were they under 18? Would you
No.
know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party, he's asking you?
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night and late-ish. And I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
Okay. And was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there, and the water of this big pool was on the same floor that there were several suites, so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in these activities
No.
with this person? Okay, thank you.
And that ends this round, and
He also admitted that he had flown on Epstein's private plane several times in the early 2000s, explaining that those trips were related to humanitarian work connected to the Clinton Foundation. According to him, he had already cut off contact with Epstein well before Epstein's crimes became public in 2008. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton testified that she did not personally know Epstein. However, details within the Epstein files appear to raise questions that tell a different story.
Or they thought she might even be president, right? And then after, she lost to Trump in 2016, it dried up essentially. But also, in addition to the other philanthropies, you have the Clinton Global Initiative, which was allegedly Epstein's idea. According to his defense lawyers, he was part of the core team that developed the concept for the Clinton Global Initiative, which is kind of like a Clinton brokered Davos, World Economic Forum style meeting. And, they passed money around to, Ghislaine Maxwell's Terramar, for example, among other things. And so, Epstein was obviously very sought out in the not-profit world, arguably because he was very good at tax shelters. And a lot of these billionaires want to, get tax write-offs or not have to pay money in tax. And so, setting up these philanthropies the right way when Epstein's background, going back to his time at Bear Stearns, was in tax evasion, obviously I think that points to why they were so interested in having him be involved in setting up their nonprofits. And there's also the fact that You had Epstein.
But the story doesn't stop there. During a more recent deposition involving Hillary, a tense moment reportedly unfolded that led her to refuse additional questions before ultimately leaving the session in frustration.
I have
There
another.
are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm
can
done
occur?
with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's
So I would
sake.
like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was.
It doesn't
Excuse
matter.
me.
We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
So
well.
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
and I'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Both the Clintons and Donald Trump are mentioned in the Epstein files, though neither has ever been formally accused of any crimes related to Epstein. Despite this, public scrutiny and attention remain intense. The investigation seems to be expanding. Newly surfaced documents reportedly show email exchanges between Elon Musk and Epstein, and Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, is also listed in the files.
The world's richest man, Elon Musk. He's always denied any close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, but they exchanged numerous emails trying to arrange a visit for Musk to Epstein's island in the Caribbean. In one of them, Musk goes on to write this: "What day, night will be the wildest party on your island?" Now, Musk has addressed those allegations directly on X. He wrote, "No one pushed harder than me to have the Epstein files released, and I'm glad that has finally happened. I had very little correspondence with Epstein and declined repeated invitations to go to his island or fly on his Lolita Express, but was well aware that some email correspondence with him could be misinterpreted and used by detractors to smear my name. I don't care about that, but what I do care about is that we at least attempt to prosecute those who committed serious crimes with Epstein, especially regarding heinous exploitation of underage girls." So this is the fullest picture we have, but only so far.
At the same time, critics drew attention to a disturbing reality. The alleged victims linked to these powerful individuals have stepped forward to reveal the horrific treatment they endured.
Bryant was a first-year university student and part-time model when she was ensnared by Epstein in Cape Town.
I just turned 20 and it just seemed like my dreams were all coming true. Because, you know, our family was struggling financially and I just really wanted to try and make a difference for my family. And I you know, was dreaming of doing something like, you know, like modeling.
Her first trip out of South Africa was to New York, where she says she abruptly found herself on the way to the Caribbean, sat next to him on his private jet to Epstein Island with the women he used to recruit her.
Like basically, as the plane took off, he started forcefully touching me in between my legs. And I just freaked out and I realized, I suddenly realized, oh my God, my family aren't going to see me again. These people might kill me. You know, I got such a fright. It was such a huge changing thing for me. And I suddenly realized I had to just be nice and be friendly because I realized that I was in great danger.
And he's assaulting you and the other women
and
there.
They were laughing. Yeah, they saw and they just laughed. So you know, I was really, really petrified. And you know, it really changed me, the whole thing, you know, going through this. And I just didn't know what to do, and I just really thought that I was going to die.
Juliet wasn't the only victim he lured out of Cape Town.
If these allegations are true, it could explain why they are working so hard to portray themselves as innocent. The alternative could be devastating for their careers and lives. But there's a larger pattern that keeps emerging in this story. Powerful individuals often demand transparency until their own connections are questioned. Then, suddenly, the focus shifts to context, timing, and interpretation. In some cases, critical files even go missing.
When you hear that response from the Justice Department, do you believe that's sufficient?
Thanks so much for having me, Caitlin. And the answer is no, it's not. They are not responding to the law. And at this point, I think it appears clearer and clearer every day that they are knowingly violating and willfully violating the law that we passed, that Donald Trump signed into law, requiring them to turn over every responsive document. And I want to be clear, just to clarify two things that I think you alluded to. One, Donald Trump is accused of assaulting a child in those memos that you mentioned. Two, that it's not just a few dozen documents that are not being turned over. Fully half of the documents that we're aware of, some 3 million documents, have not been turned over by the DOJ. They claim they fully responded, And yet we've found over and over again, and I can tell you that oversight Democratic staff have confirmed what you have found, that these documents are missing. They were not turned over, even though they were very clearly responsive to the questions that we asked. And this appears to be part of a very broad cover-up. And you may remember back last May, when Pam Bondi reportedly told Donald Trump he was in the Epstein files. After that, there were a lot of reports that DOJ attorneys were being asked to go redact documents, to hide documents, to remove documents from the files that had Donald Trump's name. So we're definitely continuing to look at this, but it appears that the DOJ is willfully violating the law.
If the allegations hold any truth, it would explain why they are going to great lengths to present themselves as innocent. The alternative, being exposed, could be catastrophic for their careers and personal lives. Yet a recurring pattern emerges in this story. Powerful figures frequently call for transparency, but when their own ties come under scrutiny, the conversation abruptly shifts to context, timing, and interpretation. In some instances, key documents even disappear entirely.
Once again, no charges have been filed against any major names, except Prince Andrew, in connection to Epstein's crimes yet. The files show correspondence and proposed meetings, not criminal findings. But in today's climate, public trust is fragile, and it's fading as we speak. What do you think will happen now? Let us know in the comments below.